Currently reading What My Bones Know. Actually, I finished it in 1.5 days. I think this is a very, very important book. Thank you very much to Stephanie Foo for making this happen. I just want to preface by saying that there's so much I want to read of this book just to share it with the world, but I won't. But what I've decided to do is basically take off a few lines here and there from chapter 39 and leave you to run to the bookstore as soon as you can and get yourself a copy. If you've got Kindle, great, but obviously support your independent bookstores whenever you can. So here goes. Going to Dr. Ham's office felt like going to the gym. It was a training ground built to work out your mind and heart, to make them stronger. And it reminded me of another training arena for younger people. A couple of years earlier, while doing some research for a potential This American Life story, I had visited a place called Mott Haven Academy, a charter school in the Bronx where most of the student body was in foster care. The school let me spend an entire day observing its students, and I noticed immediately that it felt very different from your average school. On the playground, all around me, dozens of children were playing soccer, swinging on the swing set, screaming from the jungle gym, and generally chasing one another maniacally. It was all normal, sure, but something felt a little off. It took me a moment to recognize it. Where were the loners? Most playgrounds have an odd kid or two who hang out in the corner, drawing quietly, reading a book, or jumping rope by themselves. But everyone here seemed like they were part of a giant crew. Everyone, that is, except for one single 8-year-old boy who stood by himself glowering. I watched him intently as something churned inside him, growing darker and darker, until eventually he crossed the playground to pick up a 4-foot-long fallen branch and hurled it at a group of kids playing tag. He missed them, and they gave him a bit of a weird look and went to play a little further off. A yard duty monitor approached him. What he had done was an unmistakably violent act, one that could have really hurt someone, so I expected her to put him on a timeout or send him to an office somewhere to be dealt with. But instead she knelt down and said, "You look upset. What's going on?" "My best friend is playing with other people today," he said, looking down close to tears. "I'm mad because we play together every day." The monitor called over his best friend. "Hey, Nico." Nico trotted over. "Jeremy here says he's feeling worried because you're playing with other kids today. Jeremy, are you feeling worried that maybe Nico doesn't want to be your friend anymore?" Jeremy, again avoiding eye contact, barely nodded. "Oh yeah, of course I still like you," Nico said, smiling, a reassuring duh in his voice. "I'm just trying something new today." It's okay to be great friends and still sometimes play with other friends, right? It doesn't mean you don't like each other, the monitor said. "Yeah, you're my friend, Jeremy," Nico affirmed confidently. Jeremy finally looked up. "I like you too, Nico." The yard duty monitor retreated. In the span of a minute, Jeremy was a changed man. He ran toward the kids playing soccer, and for the last moments of lunch, he dribbled the ball gleefully up and down the field, having rejoined the flock. You want to talk about trauma? Man, it doesn't get much worse than kids who survived the foster system. 51% of children in the foster system have 4 or more ACEs, compared with 13% of children outside of the foster system. Okay, I'm going to skip. Pick it up here. 90% of foster kids who have had more than 5 placements will enter the criminal justice system. These statistics are why Mott Haven has a different focus from other schools. Instead of academic success, Mott Haven's main priority is on creating a community within their school, a place for kids to feel safe and to have a stable, loving, family-like structure they might not have at home. And a big part of that means having a totally unconventional disciplinary system. In their classrooms, children aren't punished for slouching or tapping their pencils or even getting up and walking around in the middle of a lesson. In fact, as long as they're actively listening or working, kids can stand up or change desks. If they're truly overwhelmed, there are quiet spaces in which children can hide out, little cozy blanket forts or beanbag chairs where they can excuse themselves and take a minute to self-soothe. There is a period a few times a week specifically built for students to share the things that are really bugging them in school and in life. And most of the kids meet with therapists at least once a week. When children do act out, as children, especially traumatized children, are wont to do, administrators focus on healing and maintaining relationships rather than punishment. Let's go here. I had to blink back tears when I saw Jeremy and Nico make up. I thought they were cute, but also I was in awe of their skills. I wanted to be as adept as they were. I wanted an adult Mott Haven. How else would I learn these skills? Who would teach me? And then he goes on to a therapy session. I love how this is just recorded and just practically, I think, mostly transcribed and weaved into this beautifully written book, or part of this book. And it talks about an argument that she has with her partner. And then it goes on, like, she gets a little bit pathological whenever she gets into an argument. The default thinking is that it was her fault, or somehow, it makes her totally an evil person. You're worried about his safety, Dr. Ham realized. And his eyes got big again. And losing him. Yeah, I whispered. Dr. Ham thought for a moment. Then, to my surprise, he exploded. I would be livid. You have a right to nag him if he's not going to take care of his health, as someone who loves him. How dare he do that? Oh, so I'm right? He shook his head. No, I'm not saying you should keep nagging him. I'm saying your nagging comes from a good place. And you shouldn't say I'm an idiot for nagging. Well, if the nagging and my fear are justified, how else can I do it without him getting mad? You can share it with him like, I don't want to nag you. I'm sorry. But you cannot die on me, and I cannot watch you not take care of yourself. So please take care of yourself for me. Oh, okay. I'll try that. This seemed like a good prescriptive solution, but I still didn't feel better. Saying something like that when I was all triggered and crazy sounded impossible, and honestly, Joey would probably get irritated at that too. I grabbed a pillow from Dr. Ham's couch and hugged it over my belly. Maybe we shouldn't get married in the first place if we're going to fight over stupid things like this. If I'm going to constantly be triggered by the way his face looks. You're so stupid, Dr. Ham said, laughing again. What? You can't call me stupid. I'm not stupid. You're being stupid, he said, grinning infuriatingly. It's not the fights that matter. It's the repairs. The repairs. You're still my friend, Jeremy. I'm over it, Willow, because I'm your friend.